Hi ladies, welcome back to my channel. I am Nikki. I am a third-year homeschooling mom to 5 little boys. I actually have a little guy here with me today. Today I wanted to share some of my favorite homeschool mom resources. I thought it's the middle of the school year and we just ended the longest, shortest month of the school year, and what better time to pull out some of my favorite books to get some new encouragement from, to kind of get us to the goal line of the end of the school year. And so I wanted to share those with you today. Now, the books that I'm going to share with you are in no particular order. I don't have a number one favorite. They're all really, really good, but they're all good for different reasons. They all kind of have different talking points that make them really, really good. First up, this. There's no such thing as bad weather. If you have not read this book, I highly recommend it. It is an excellent resource, especially if you live in a state like I do, where the winters are long and hard. So in this book, the author is a Scandinavian mom. She comes to America and is raising her babies and realizes that the way that she grew up is a lot different than how America raises their children, particularly regarding outdoors and kids playing and being outdoors. And I have to be honest, I often have dreaded the winters. It's, like I said, I live in Michigan and the sun doesn't live here. We see the sun a little bit right now because we're inching a little bit closer to spring, but most of the winter we go days, sometimes weeks without any sunlight, and it is very hard and it's really cold. But I read this book in the fall and I knew that this winter would be particularly hard for the obvious reason of COVID, but also I had a newborn and I have lots of little people in tow, and I didn't want to dread the winter. I'm like, we have to live through it, so what can I do to make the best of it? And this book has definitely shifted my perspective. I still have some growth to do in the area of like getting my kids outside more, but I will say that this winter has been our best by and far of getting outside, even if it's just for a little bit of time. I have been more intentional about it this winter, and it is all because of this book. Highly, highly recommend checking this one out. The next one is one of my favorites. All of these are my favorites. Like I said, they're in no order. They're all my favorites. But The Read Aloud Family by Sarah Mackenzie. She is just an absolute gem. If you don't know who Sarah Mackenzie is in the homeschool world, she is wonderful. I have found so much encouragement and inspiration from her. I could speak for days about her. So this book in particular talks about reading aloud and the impact that just the simple act of reading aloud has on your family and on your homeschool. And I read this book in my first year of homeschool, and it really truly made me feel at ease knowing that I was doing enough by just reading aloud to my kids. That first year that we homeschooled, I had a kindergartner and a preschooler, a toddler, and a newborn, and most of our days were spent reading books, going to the library, getting new books, lots of picture books, lots of reading aloud. And I read this book in the middle of my first year of homeschool, and it really and truly encouraged me to continue to make that an important part of our homeschool. We have the freedom of time and flexibility to do so much reading aloud, and this helped me to realize that that is a wonderful thing, and one of the best things that I can do as a homeschool mom for my kids is to read aloud to them. And this book helped me to know that what I was doing was great, awesome, and good enough. The next book, I'm going to put a little picture of it right here because I actually have it on my Audible account. I listened to it, and this year I may purchase like a physical copy of it, but this book is another book by Sarah Mackenzie called Teaching from Rest. This is a book that I read or listen to at the beginning of every school year to kind of get my mind right, get my mind shift focused back into homeschool gear, and it really helps to put me at rest knowing that I am doing the right thing, that I am doing what God has called me to do, knowing that I'm entering another homeschool year with new things, new challenges, and to do it with ease and comfort and peace, knowing that God has directed me there, has guided me to be in this role as a homeschool mom. I cannot recommend this book enough. It is a true gem, just an absolute gift to homeschool moms. If you have not read that, you need to read it right now. And it is such a wonderful book to kind of bring you back to your why. And like I said at the beginning of this video, we're in the middle of our year. We are like, you know, in the thick of it. And if you need some encouragement to get through to the end of the school year, this is the book that you need to read to just kind of get you back into that shift. Like, okay, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm called to do this. This is the book that you have to read because it is so, so good. And finally, another one of my favorites, The Brave Learner by Julie Bogart. I could not talk about homeschool mom resources without talking about Julie. Now, if you don't know about Julie Bogart, she is another wonderful gift to the homeschool community. She is well known for her Brave Writer program and curriculum. I cannot attest to that because I have not used that yet, but this book, oh my gosh, wow. I read this book as soon as it came out, and I mean, what she says here at the beginning, finding the everyday magic in homeschool. Guys, if you have not read this book, another one, you have to make time to read this book. And I think this is another really good one to read at the beginning of your homeschool year and in the middle of your homeschool year, because she speaks a lot on recognizing that your children are not always going to learn sitting at a table, doing a math lesson, writing a book report. There are so many other ways to teach our kids, and there are so many other ways that our kids are learning. She really helped me to recognize that after I read this book. And I have to show you this little art cart right here that we have, just readily available to anybody who wants to come use it. That was 100% inspired by Julie's book. That's just one of the things that I have implemented in my homeschool after reading this book. She talks a lot about finding the magic in your homeschool, using enchantment and mystery to really bring out the joy of learning and education for kids. She helps you to understand that learning will not always happen the way that you want it to sitting down to do a curriculum, or if you didn't finish that math curriculum, your kid's gonna be okay. She really talks a lot about that, and this is another one that I read in my first year of homeschool, and it helped me so much to, again, know that reading aloud and spending time with my kids and putting the lessons aside when there were tears, or doing non-traditional things like baking a pastry and reading poetry. My kids were getting so much more from that than they were by me forcing them to do a phonics lesson. I highly recommend checking this book out too. So there are lots of other homeschool books out there. Two that I am currently reading right now are Homeschool Bravely and The Call of the Wild and Free. I am currently listening to those and enjoying them both very much, but I cannot speak to what the content is because I haven't finished them yet. But I am going to link all of these below. These are some of my favorite homeschool mom resources that if you have not read them, I just cannot recommend them enough. And again, especially when we're in the middle of the year and we're getting weary. We're getting weary, we're like, okay, are we done yet? These books, pulling them out and like thumbing through them, looking at the places where I've highlighted things, it reminds me of my why and how to do this well and find the joy in it. These authors, these ladies have really done us a great service by sharing their work with us. So with that, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you guys being here with me. If you enjoyed it, give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe for more videos, and I will see you in the next one.
The world could fall down, it's gonna be okay.